Think you know Hollywood's icons? Think again. Behind the glamour lies a documented history of harassment and misconduct, long concealed by power and a culture of silence. Investigations by CNN, The New York Times, and The New Yorker brought disturbing realities to light. These are no longer mere whispers, but testimonies and records verified by the international press. 1. Morgan Freeman. In the minds of millions, Morgan Freeman represents wisdom and dignity. However, a 2018 CNN investigation recorded testimonies from 16 people, including 8 women who directly accused Freeman of verbal harassment and inappropriate physical contact in the workplace. The report described a high-pressure working atmosphere for female employees. Many production assistants admitted forming a self-defense habit of wearing loose, modest clothing whenever Freeman was present to avoid unwanted comments about their appearance. A production intern on the film, Going in Style, stated that the veteran actor repeatedly violated her personal space and asked inappropriate personal questions at work, reportedly right in front of male colleagues, none of whom intervened due to his immense star power. Faced with the evidence, Freeman issued a public apology, stating he never intended to make anyone feel unsafe, while expressing regret that behaviors he considered playful had caused harm. 2. Sylvester Stallone. The image of Sylvester Stallone is tied to Rocky and Rambo, symbols of strength and determination. However, page report from the Las Vegas Police Department, uncovered by the Daily Mail and the Hollywood Reporter, revealed a deeply troubling incident buried for over 30 years. The report documents an alleged incident from 1986, when Stallone was at the peak of his Hollywood power. A woman accused Stallone and members of his entourage of pressuring her into inappropriate acts at a hotel. What made the situation particularly serious was the alleged intimidation that followed. She stated she was threatened against speaking to authorities. The massive power imbalance meant her account remained unpublished for decades until it surfaced in 2017. Stallone's representatives completely denied the allegations, and no criminal charges were filed due to insufficient physical evidence after so many years. Nevertheless, the existence of this police report created a significant crack in his public image and raised major questions about how power can be used to silence vulnerable individuals. 3. Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas is respected not only for his 2 Academy Awards, but also for his distinguished artistic legacy. However, in 2018, journalist Susan Braude, who had managed Douglas's office in the 1980s, broke a silence lasting over 3 decades. She accused him of serious indecent behavior during a private script meeting at his apartment. According to Braude, when she attempted to leave in shock, Douglas allegedly used threatening language about her career rather than offering an apology. Most notably, the moment Douglas learned that the Hollywood Reporter was preparing to publish the accusation, he launched an unprecedented preemptive media campaign, publicly denying the allegation before the accuser could speak, framing it as fabricated extortion. Sociologists describe this as a calculated media tactic using celebrity power to shape public opinion from the outset, weakening the credibility of the accuser before her account could be heard. 4. Bill Cosby. For half a century, Bill Cosby was a symbol of family values and moral authority in America. That image collapsed entirely when more than 50 women came forward with nearly identical accounts describing being incapacitated through substances before being subjected to inappropriate acts. The 2018 criminal conviction officially confirmed the severity of his offenses. His method was calculated. He approached victims under the guise of a respected mentor, inviting young performers to his home or hotel to discuss their careers, then introduced them to a specially prepared beverage laced with a powerful sedative. A confession from Cosby himself in a 2005 civil lawsuit kept sealed for a decade confirmed that he had intentionally used substances to engage in non-consensual encounters with women. The truth about Cosby exposed how powerful figures can maintain a perfect double life for decades, standing on public stages advocating for moral responsibility while privately exploiting ambitious young women. 5. John Travolta. John Travolta has long projected the image of a radiant A-list entertainer. However, in 2012, multiple male massage therapists at upscale hotels filed lawsuits, accusing the actor of non-consensual touching and inappropriate propositions during late-night private sessions. The alleged pattern was consistent, Travolta would book massages in private rooms after midnight and engage in behavior that pressured staff. The lawsuits were all rapidly dismissed or quietly settled, leading many sources to suggest that the Church of Scientology, of which Travolta is a senior member, used its influence and legal resources to contain the allegations. No official verdict was ever issued, but the detailed testimonies offered a stark view of how major stars can use privilege to disregard ethical boundaries and the consent of workers. 6. Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein was once considered the most powerful man in Hollywood, someone who could elevate any unknown actress to stardom with a single decision. However, his empire was essentially a predatory operation run with professional precision. The Pulitzer Prize-winning investigation published jointly by the New York Times and the New Yorker in 2017 exposed how roles were used as currency in exchange for degrading demands. Weinstein frequently invited young actresses to hotel rooms under the pretense of script discussions, then made humiliating requests as an alleged test of their willingness to advance in their careers. He maintained an entire network from assistants to management companies to journalists to isolate and silence those who refused or intended to speak out. The Harvey Weinstein case became the catalyst for the global Me Too movement, forcing a worldwide reckoning with the corruption embedded in Hollywood's opportunity system. His lengthy prison sentences in New York and Los Angeles marked the end of an empire built on the abuse of power. 7. Woody Allen. The intellectual and romantic light of Woody Allen's films dimmed significantly in the face of persistent allegations and public controversy. Allen's relationships drew widespread outrage when he publicly declared romantic feelings for and subsequently married Soon-Yi Previn, the adopted daughter of his longtime partner Mia Farrow. Sociologists viewed this as a prime example of how star power allows individuals to operate outside conventional moral boundaries, blurring the line between personal relationships and professional identity. Although Allen has consistently denied all allegations made against him, attributing them to vindictiveness, the public remains profoundly divided. Many prominent actors later expressed regret for working with him, acknowledging that their silence had contributed to the isolation of those who came forward. 8. Kevin Spacey. Before the allegations emerged, Kevin Spacey was considered the gold standard of modern acting, a two-time Oscar winner with a dominant presence in House of Cards. In 2017, actor Anthony Rapp accused Spacey of making an unwanted advance toward him at a party in 1986. This accusation became the first in a chain of testimonies. Dozens of men stepped forward to describe a troubling reality. At the Old Vic Theatre in London, where Spacey served as artistic director, more than 20 male employees described a toxic work environment they called a hunting ground, where Spacey allegedly used his supreme status to apply pressure, engage in non-consensual touching, and intimidate young interns into silence for fear of ending their careers before they began. Spacey's response caused additional outrage. He chose to publicly disclose his width in his initial apology, a move widely condemned as a deliberate attempt to redirect public attention. His fall from power demonstrated that even the most celebrated careers can collapse entirely when collective silence is broken. 9. Marlon Brando. Widely regarded as one of the greatest performers in cinema history, Marlon Brando left behind a complex legacy. Behind the celebrated film Last Tango in Paris lies a disturbing account of the misuse of creative authority. In 2007, lead actress Maria Schneider revealed that the film's most controversial scene had been secretly arranged between Brando and director Bernardo Bertolucci moments before filming without her knowledge or consent. Their stated goal was to capture an authentic reaction of genuine distress from the actress. Schneider shared that her emotional response on screen was real, rooted in feelings of betrayal and violation. The experience contributed to years of personal suffering, including depression. While Brando and the director accepted widespread praise for the scene's perceived authenticity, Schneider's account stands as a profound scar on cinema history, evidence of an era in which the creative authority of powerful men was treated as absolute and female performers were seen as instruments for satisfying artistic ambition. 10. Alfred Hitchcock. In cinematic history, Alfred Hitchcock is revered as the master of suspense. Behind that legacy, however, lies an account of obsession and psychological control. In 2016, actress Tippi Hedren detailed in her memoir the conditions she endured during the making of The Birds, describing a working environment she likened to a form of captivity. Hitchcock allegedly used his directorial power to isolate and manipulate her both physically and emotionally, reportedly installing surveillance equipment to monitor her at all times and forbidding male colleagues from speaking to her under threat to their careers. The most severe incident occurred during the filming of the bird attack sequence. Hedren recounted that Hitchcock had deceived her by replacing mechanical birds with live, aggressive ones, resulting in serious facial injuries and extreme psychological distress. When Hedren refused his personal demands, Hitchcock allegedly held her to an exclusive contract while blocking her from working in other films for years. Her experience stands as a testament to the cost of resisting individuals whose authority was treated as unchecked. 11. Ben Affleck. In 2017, amid the shockwaves of the Me Too movement, a 2003 clip from the show TRL resurfaced, prompting actress Hilary Burton to confirm that Affleck had subjected her to unwanted physical contact live on television. The incident was not isolated. Makeup artist Anna Marie Tendler and several other women also came forward with accounts of non-consensual touching at Hollywood events. Additionally, actress Rose McGowan publicly criticized Affleck for having been aware of Harvey Weinstein's conduct for years and choosing silence to protect his own interests. Affleck subsequently issued a public apology, acknowledging his actions as inappropriate. However, the episode raised serious questions about the culture of male privilege in Hollywood, where major stars believed they could behave disrespectfully toward colleagues without consequence. 12. James Franco. The image of James Franco as a multi-talented artist and university lecturer collapsed when more than 50 students from his acting school, Studio 4, stepped forward with accusations of misconduct. The lawsuits described a consistent pattern. Franco allegedly used his position as both instructor and A-list star to pressure female students into compromising situations that were not part of their official training. Former students described Studio 4 as a psychological arena, where they were manipulated into believing that complying with Franco's inappropriate requests was a demonstration of artistic commitment and a gateway to career advancement. Franco was also accused of conducting auditions at his private apartment, blurring professional and personal boundaries. In 2021, Franco publicly acknowledged having been involved with students, attributing it to personal issues. He ultimately agreed to pay a settlement of $2.2 million USD to resolve civil lawsuits related to misconduct and exploitation. 13. Charlie Sheen. The name Charlie Sheen was once synonymous with headline-grabbing behavior and the winning persona that defined his television image. Behind the nonchalant exterior, however, lies a deeply troubling history. Sheen faced multiple civil complaints from former partners regarding controlling and harmful behavior, as well as serious legal and public health issues stemming from his concealment of his medical status in intimate relationships. He is described as having used power and financial resources to control others during prolonged periods of extreme personal instability. His collapse was irreversible. A star who once earned the highest salary in American television history descended into professional ruin as a result of his lifestyle choices and the exposure of serious misconduct. 14. Dustin Hoffman. 2 Academy Awards could not shield Dustin Hoffman from credible accusations of inappropriate behavior. In 2017, The Hollywood Reporter published an account from Wendy Riskatsiunas, a screenwriter who had met Hoffman to discuss a film project. She alleged that instead of engaging with the script, Hoffman redirected the conversation and made inappropriate personal requests. Actress Meryl Streep later revealed that during the filming of Kramer vs. Kramer, Hoffman struck her hard across the face without warning in the first scene, justifying it as a technique to provoke a genuine emotional reaction. Additional former crew members also accused Hoffman of using inappropriate language and engaging in unwanted physical contact with staff. Hoffman issued an apology for any actions that made others uncomfortable, but the accumulating accounts painted a portrait of an artist who used the privilege of his reputation to normalize harmful behavior on set. 15. Chris Noth. The image of the sophisticated gentleman the city evaporated shortly after the sequel series premiered in late 2021. 3 women who did not know one another simultaneously filed detailed complaints with The Hollywood Reporter, describing separate incidents of serious misconduct committed by Noth at different points in time, separated by decades, indicating a systematic behavioral pattern. The accusers described a consistent approach: Noth would present himself with charm and cultural sophistication before becoming aggressive once in a private setting. Hollywood's response was swift. Noth was removed from ongoing projects, dropped by his talent agency, and his character was removed from subsequent scenes of the series. His case serves as a warning that in the digital age, charm and reputation are no longer sufficient shields when serious misconduct is documented and brought to light. 16. Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf's journey from star to acclaimed character actor was consistently shadowed by personal controversy. The most serious accusations came in 2020 from his former partner, singer FKA Twigs, whose lawsuit documented a private life characterized by patterns of control and psychological manipulation. FKA Twigs alleged that LaBeouf engaged in threatening and reckless behavior, used intimidation to enforce compliance, and knowingly exposed her to a transmissible illness without disclosure. The controlling behavior extended into their home environment, where she described living under conditions designed to enforce total submission. LaBeouf publicly acknowledged a history of harmful behavior, expressed remorse for causing pain to those close to him, and subsequently paused his career to seek professional psychological and rehabilitation support. 17. Steven Seagal. The martial arts icon Steven Seagal built an on-screen identity as a righteous and invincible figure. Off-camera, however, he faced a sustained series of credible accusations regarding the abuse of power in interactions with aspiring female performers. Prominent figures, including Juliana Margulies and Portia de Rossi, publicly described disturbing experiences in auditions run personally by Seagal. The alleged pattern was consistent. He would invite actresses to his hotel room or private office at night under the pretext of an audition or script discussion, then create an atmosphere of intimidation using displays of weapons and physical capability. Margulies described seeing a firearm placed visibly on a table upon entering the room, while de Rossi alleged that Seagal openly requested her to perform inappropriate acts as a supposed on-screen chemistry test. Despite the number of credible accounts, Seagal consistently denied all allegations, and no criminal conviction followed. 18. Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe built his Hollywood reputation on intense, award-winning performances, most notably his Academy Award-winning role in Gladiator. However, behind the powerful on-screen presence lies a well-documented history of aggressive and controlling behavior toward colleagues and collaborators. Multiple former co-workers and industry professionals have described Crowe as volatile and intimidating on set, using his star status to create an atmosphere of fear. Most publicly, Crowe faced serious legal consequences in 2005 when he threw a telephone at a hotel concierge in New York, resulting in a criminal charge of second-degree assault. The incident was widely covered and resulted in a civil settlement. Beyond this, several women in the industry described encounters where Crowe used his power to demean and pressure those around him professionally. His behavior became a widely discussed example of how unchecked temperament in major stars is often tolerated by studios due to their box office value, while those on the receiving end of the misconduct have little recourse. 19. Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson was once one of the most bankable and respected figures in Hollywood, a celebrated director and actor behind Braveheart and the Lethal Weapon franchise. His public downfall began in 2006 when he was pulled over for driving under the influence in Malibu and proceeded to make a series of deeply offensive, hateful statements toward law enforcement officers, which were officially documented in the police report and subsequently leaked to the press. The incident exposed a pattern of behavior that industry insiders had long been aware of but publicly ignored. In 2010, recordings of phone conversations between Gibson and his former partner, Oksana Grigorieva, were released, in which Gibson made explicit threats and used deeply degrading language. Grigorieva also filed legal documentation accusing Gibson of physical assault. Gibson later issued public apologies on multiple occasions, acknowledging that his behavior was indefensible. Despite attempts at career rehabilitation, including a well-received directorial return with Hacksaw Ridge in 2016, his earlier conduct remains a defining and thoroughly documented part of his public record, illustrating how Hollywood historically protected powerful figures regardless of their off-screen behavior.